Why is it that after conceding a goal, some teams just snap right back into place while others completely fall apart? It's a question that drives coaches and fans crazy. But what if the answer isn't just tactical, but something we can actually measure? Well, in this breakdown, we're going to show you exactly how. Picture this. It's the 52nd minute. The other team just scored. Your team's shape is crumbling, the crowd goes quiet, and you can just see the opposition smelling blood in the water. It's such a critical moment in any match. And this is the million-dollar question, right? What separates the teams that regroup and get back in control from the ones that just totally lose the plot? The difference, it turns out, isn't just mentality. It's tactical, and now we can actually put a number on it. So let's get into it. Here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at the shock itself. Then we'll pull back the curtain on the secret, adaptation rate. We'll dig into some extreme examples, pinpoint the key to resilience, and then, most importantly, we'll give you a concrete action plan. First up, the shock. That feeling of a team collapsing after a goal isn't just a feeling. It's a real, observable event. And crucially, it's measurable in the performance data. And the secret to understanding this whole dynamic is a new metric, adaptation rate, or AR for short. This is the key that unlocks how resilient a team is in the middle of a game. So what is adaptation rate? Basically, it's a measure of how long it takes the team to get back to its baseline performance level, its expected net XG, after a tactical shock like conceding a goal or getting a red card. It's essentially a live rating of your tactical bounce-back ability. And this chart just perfectly illustrates the massive gap between the best and the worst teams. I mean, look at that spread. The top bar shows the quickest teams actually get better after a shock. The lowest shows the slowest ones just crater. But the most telling number here is that middle bar, the average team. And here's the absolute kicker. The average is negative. That means for the average team, the shock isn't a temporary dip. They never fully recover their pre-shock performance level for the rest of the match. That disruption has a lasting negative effect. Okay, so let's see how this plays out in the real world by looking at examples from both ends of the spectrum. Now, what's so interesting here is the contrast. On one side, you have Holstein Kiel, a newly promoted team, topping the charts. Their secret isn't raw talent, it's tactical flexibility. The players are coached to adapt on the fly, together, without waiting for instructions from the bench. On the other side, teams like Lecce and Alaves are just permanently knocked off balance. For them, the shock literally changes the game for good. And then you have a special case like Liverpool, who come in at number 2. Their strength comes from their deeply ingrained counter-pressing system. When the team gets hit, the reorganization isn't top-down. It's horizontal, instinctive, player-to-player. The same communication network that fuels their press is what allows them to reset so quickly. So what's the underlying factor that drives a high adaptation rate? Well, it all boils down to one fundamental concept: the team's shape. Here it is, the single most important finding from this analysis. Teams that hold their shape better, meaning they have a low formation drift, bounce back way, way faster after a shock. And the mechanism is really simple and logical. A team with a disciplined shape, where players are only about 13 meters away from their assigned position on average, has a clear reference point. When chaos hits, everyone knows where home is. The reset is fast. But if your players are scattered, maybe almost 29 meters away on average, there's no stable home base. Reorganizing becomes slow, confusing, and costly. But a disciplined shape doesn't just happen by itself. You need an engine on the field to drive that rapid adaptation. And that engine almost always is your central midfielders. Why? Well, they're in the geographical heart of the game. They rarely hit the top sprinting speeds of wingers, which means they're less likely to be in a communication cutoff and can process and relay information better. After a goal is conceded, they're the ones in the best position to communicate with the entire team. And get this, if your captain is a central midfielder, your adaptation speed is likely to be higher. Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff, but how do you actually apply it? Here are 3 concrete actions you can start using right away. First, script your shock scenarios. Before every match, write out a simple 2-sentence protocol for what to do when you concede a goal. Second, designate a reset coordinator on the field, usually your central mid, whose job it is to execute that protocol. And third, train resilience explicitly. In your positioning drills, don't just work on getting into shape. Time how fast your players get back to their shape after you disrupt it. And that brings us to one final thought. For years, resilience was this fuzzy, intangible quality. But now that we can measure it, now that we know what drives it, what's your team's real resilience? And more importantly, what are you going to do to make it better?